Chapter 3. Join me, boy. Join. Percy woke up. Percy, finally! Grover backed from the bed, looking proud of himself. You were having a nightmare. I didn't think you'd ever wake up. Sorry, Percy mumbled, pushing himself up. He caught the blue sweater Grover tossed him, pulling it over his head as the cold dorm air hit him. Thanks. Grover's nervous chatter washed over him as he collected his things, humming where it was needed as he shook the nightclothes off. Grover, he knew, didn't mind that he was only half listening. He was a great friend, the only one Percy had managed to keep for this long without scaring off for one reason or another. He was a nice, solid presence for Percy. He also smelled like a goat, but Percy had gotten used to it. He tuned back in when Grover mentioned the field trip. To the museum, right? He asked. The art one? The Metropolitan Museum of Art. Grover hobbled to his nightstand to grab his notebook. Percy had already grabbed both of their bags, so they headed out to get breakfast and then joined their group. The Metropolitan Museum of Art was a familiar place for Percy. His mom and him had gone there plenty of times for its Greek and Roman art exhibit. A great way for his mom to bring the stories she told to life. It also helped that the words stopped dancing with the included Greek and Latin scripts. He wondered if they had gotten anything new in. He'd love to be able to share a new story with his mom the next time he saw her. No one bothered them as they got on the bus. Lessons well learned. The last time anyone had tried to bully Grover about his crutches. They hadn't been able to prove anything, but everyone had known. Good morning, Mr. Burner, Mrs. Dodds, he greeted as he passed. Good morning, Percy, Mr. Burner greeted cheerfully. Mr. Dodds sniffed in return, her eyes tracking him like they always did. Both of them also had a smell, distinct from each other and different from Grover. Mr. Burner's was reminiscent of a horse, old, steady, and strong. Sometimes he smelled like herbs, and other times he smelled like a collection of metal keys. Mrs. Dodds smelled like dust in an attic, always making him want to sneeze. But the attached darkness of tart pomegranates and sweet asphodels hidden beneath was smoothing. The museum did not have any new additions, much to Percy's disappointment. He followed the back of the group, a slow shuffle, so Grover didn't feel like he wasn't keeping up. They stopped in front of another stele depicting a youthful boy and a younger girl. Siblings, perhaps? But why him? Percy questioned. Something to add, Mr. Jackson? Oh, whoops. I'm just curious. He cleared his throat, gesturing to the carving at the base of the stele. Why would they carve the Titan King at the base of a grave marker? He's not exactly someone the ancient Greeks would have considered to bless a grave with. Unless? Mr. Burner gestured for him to continue. It's one of the things he liked about the man. He was always interested in what people had to say. He was the god of time, Percy thought out loud, and him eating his children might be used here as a way for parents to express their guilt and sorrow over not having more time with their children. Not having enough time, that was a familiar feeling. It always felt like he was running out of time, hurtling towards something new. An astute interpretation, Mr. Burner conceded, rolling his wheelchair back to look once more at the structure thoughtfully. Though we will likely never know. On that note, children, it is time for lunch. Grover and him took to the fountain, the sound of water helping ease his frayed nerves. You okay, Percy? Grover asked, watching as he dipped his finger in the water. Yeah, he assured. Just tired. The nightmares I've been having are just off-putting. How about you? Excited for break? Grover immediately launched into his plans for summer camp, a place he brought up a lot, no matter the question Percy asked. Percy was amused Grover thought him so dense, but he let the usual spill wash over him as he looked over the other people around the fountain. The collected students gave them a wide berth, while Mr. Burner sat nearest to the museum, glancing up from his book every so often to make sure nobody had snuck off. Mrs. Dodds was staring holes into him again. There were a few other school groups around, a few families, couples on dates, business people rushing to and fro to get to and from work. New York's busyness was always a pleasure to see from a quiet and still place. It was also funny, watching everyone move at such a quick pace, while you yourself were not moving. Almost like you were watching time move forward around you, without you. The smell of dust, pomegranates, and asphodels. Mr. Jackson. Mrs. Dodds was glaring down at him. Grover's hand clamped around his wrist in a vice grip. Follow me. Is there a problem, Mrs. Dodds? He asked, noticing Grover's hitched breath. Mr. Burner was looking at them over his book, a frown etched onto his face. Follow me, she repeated, and so he pried Grover's hand off his wrists, patted him on the shoulder, and followed her up the stairs and into the museum in silence. She didn't speak the whole way. Is there something I did, Mrs. Dodds? He finally asked, looking back towards the exit of the room they'd gone in. This section says no visitors. Gee, really giving child predator vibes here. How did you get up there? She was standing on top of one of those things builders use to support structures. He'd always known that leather jacket had hidden muscles ever since she nearly destroyed that desk a few months ago, when she slammed her hand on it, but not like this. You've been giving us problems, honey. She ignored him. He verged on the safe side and said, Yes, ma'am. Better to agree with the crazy. The pomegranate and asphodel smell was growing stronger. Did you really think you would get away with it? It? Percy repeated, watching her approach the edge with some apprehension. What's it here? Maybe you shouldn't go near the edge of that. I don't think it's properly anchored. It wasn't. It was starting to creak in protest. Something was also growling like a ferocious dog, but he was doing his best to ignore it, and the fact that it was coming from her direction. We are not fools, Percy Jackson. Whoa, she was determined to steamroll him. It was only a matter of time before we found you out. Confess, and you will suffer less pain. Percy stared at her, and then mentally apologized to his mother, because he had no doubt what was going to happen was going to result in a call. He had been doing so well, too. Well, she demanded. He shrugged helplessly. Your time is up, she hissed. Then she changed. Her eyes glowed like black holes, her fingers stretched into talons, and her leathery jacket melted into giant, leathery wings. The smell of pomegranates and flowers exploded. Mom's warning in his head grew into a scream, and he lunged to the side as she threw herself off the structure and swooped down at him. He rolled to his feet, backing away to put distance between them. Keep your eyes up, feet on the ground, Percy, he reminded himself, watching as she regained her bearings. This was certainly one of the most violent creatures he'd come into contact with so far. Why his math teacher? What had she been talking about? He'd taken something, but what? He dodged another swoop, half tempted to focus on the smell of horse and leather. Percy! Mr. Burner's voice broke through the haze. Catch! Percy followed his instructions, rolling under Mrs. Dodds and catching the ballpoint pen out of the air. Within a single second, it turned into a familiar sword, the one Mr. Burner always used on tournament days. Mrs. Dodds shrieked in rage. Die, honey! Percy gathered his courage and ran to meet her, sliding down at the last moment and twisting behind her. He plunged the sword into her back, right at the point where her wings met her shoulders. She exploded into golden dust, blown away within seconds. Percy blinked, and everything was right with the world. The pomegranate and flower smell was gone, and so was the smell of horses and keys. There was a pen in his hand. Huh?